Hello there. My name is Bruce Rain from Braggers Creations. How is everyone? Oh wow, that sounds like it's a bit loud. Might even be clipping. Excuse me a second here. Please let me know how the sound is. I just had a look at my levels there and I went right into the red. So please let me know if the sound is like yucky or clipping or what's it, distorted, that sort of thing. I have been making a few changes around here and I may well have accidentally changed the settings on something. If I can just find my little remote thingy, wherever that is, it's up here somewhere. There are two parts to the wireless microphone. There's a transmitter and there's a receiver. And I can't find the receiver. It's connected to the computer, otherwise we wouldn't be hearing anything. But anyhow, sounds fine, sounds fine. Sound is okay, good, okay, I won't touch anything then. Don't want to mess with anything. All right, so hello to Enzo, hello LRK, greetings from Romania, hello, greetings from Sydney. Retromac UK, Quicksilver Oz, Inkscuve, Roger, did I say hello, Roger? Roger Soltar, Enzo Fitzhugh, already did you at the beginning, sorry, K-Mac Vintage, Luke Davis, Jeremy's Vintage Hillbilly Shack, Callan, there we go. Okay, I think that's everyone. I think I've got everyone that's in here at the moment. Feel free to jump on and say hello if you haven't. Now, a couple of things I want to mention here. I've made a few changes. Namely, there's this thing hanging in the front, which you might notice here. There's this thing. This is actually another camera, and I've got it hanging from an articulated arm. The camera that I have up there, which is quite good, but the problem is that it is a very, very old HD, like 1080, camera. And then I run it through an HDMI thingy, and at the end the picture ends up being a little bit on the crappy side. So I thought, well, I might just get another webcam. So I've got another C922 webcam here. Uh-oh, the bar sign's not working. Look, my bar sign is out. What the hell? Thomas, hello there. So I'll need to sort that. Jim's Retro Stuff, hello. I need to sort out the bar sign. I don't know what's going on. The plug's just probably come out. Oh, yeah, I was fiddling around there the other day. I've probably knocked the plug out. I'm not going to do it now because I've only just started and whatnot. So I've got this camera here, which gives me a slightly different view. If we have a look at the top view, we can see that's it there. And I've got it set on automatic focus at the moment. We'll see how that goes. I might end up having to change it to manual if it's constantly going out of focus and junk. And here's my phone. Let's put that in my pocket before Jay sends me a text. He likes to... my shirt says, I survived another meeting that should have been an email. Something that I have to deal with rather a lot. As someone who is a developer, while you're developing, while you're coding stuff, you're being productive and whatnot, and the moment you're in a meeting, the code doesn't keep getting written by itself. So every time I'm in a meeting, I'm sort of like, you want to ask me how long this is going to take? Well, it depends. How long are you going to keep me here? Rightio. I did a little bit of tidying in here as well, which was, you wouldn't know from here because I didn't tidy this part. I've tidied the part over here, and I've got some stuff off the floor so I can walk in and out a little bit easier. So, just generally trying to improve things here for myself a little bit. But anyhow, this is my new view. I can move this up and down so I can get close up if I want. And one of the advantages I have here is I can actually come in at a slightly different angle. So if I'm working on something and I start putting my fat head in the way, I can kind of move the camera to a different position so that my fat head doesn't get in the way. Excuse me. And then... the other thing I've also added is I've added a second screen to this computer. Now, it's a rubbishy TV that I picked up for free and has pretty low resolution and everything, but it does allow me to run a second screen, which then allows me to do this. So I can then go in and share schematic diagrams with you. I can be looking at them myself, and I can also be sharing the screen so you can see what I'm looking at here. For example, if we wanted to have a look at a address line pin matrix, lovingly put together by LMNO. Dana is here. Hello, Dana. And Ryan Joffrey is here as well. So this is a handy addition to have. This will make my life a lot easier. because it means I can have things up on that screen and then share them with you guys at the same time. So I'm not just sort of looking at something and you're going, I wonder what he's looking at. So, for example, today we might end up even bringing this up, which is a little Macintosh LC power supply. It's a rebob. And I think this is the same one. I think it's a TDK one. Yeah, it's the same one. It's a TDK one. So most of the ones that I have here, most of the power supplies are TDK, but there are other ones. I think it's the Sony is the other one. I'm not sure. I don't normally stream on this day. It is a Wednesday's day here. But because I have set up these new things, I wanted to give them a trial. Eric, hello there. Good. So anyhow, this is what I'm going to be recapping today. It's an LC power supply. I've actually got 3 to do. So yeah, I don't know that I'll necessarily do 3 today, but I do have 3 to do. So we have the this little black plastic thing, and we have this thing, and we have another black plastic thing. I've already dismantled it. I had to dismantle it so I could take a photo for the thumbnail. So yeah, let's go to top view. There we go. That's a better view to have for this. Now, whenever I'm working on these, one of the annoying things about this power supply is that it's soldered in to this here, and I always desolder that so I can just have this as a separate piece. I generally don't replace this great big fat cap here, only because I've never really had one being a problem, but you know, you never know. These things could start being a problem. This power supply might even work. I haven't tested it, but it's really common for these to leak in this region here. So, you know, that's the thing there. So Dana, I believe, is going to start joining in a lot of these live streams more regularly because he has things to learn, because he's going to start trying to do some of these repairy stuff himself, and we are going to be encouraging him heavily to you know, to do live streams. So you know, have I ever used or worked on an Amstrad CP? I have never worked on an Amstrad, period, ever. I've worked on Macs. I have worked on a VZ200, which is the same as the Laser 200, and I have worked on a couple of Amigas. I've worked on an Amiga 600 and 1200, a few of those actually, to be honest. Yeah, so I am going to desolder these and pull them out, and then I'll solder them back in later on. Sam, hello from Emily and Sam in Birmingham, Alabama, USA. Hello, right back at ya. Okay, so typical thing when we do this sort of stuff, I wonder how low I can get this. How low can you go? I want to make sure you don't end up turning this into like a crotch cam. Does that come down? Yeah, that comes down further, but then that has to go. Ew, Jesus, don't like the sound of that. There we go. Look at that. So we're going to come at that. How's that look? It'll stop wobbling in a sec. Is that making everyone feel crook? Everyone feels sick? There we go. So, is that view all right? Is that okay? It's a little bit blurry. There we go. Sharpened up now. So, yeah. We'll see how that... We'll try it on for size. I mean, if people find the view is a little bit weird... Oh, God, that focus is going to drive me bananas. We're going to change this into manual focus for the moment. So, is it this one? Focus. Manual. Okay, it is this one. I think it's this one anyway. So let's just get this until it is in focus. Do it. Do it. Oh, you stupid thing, you. How's that for everyone? Is that reasonably in focus? Feeling good about it? Feeling good about it. Alright. So, we're going to have to desolder these two. They're labelled on here which one is neutral and which one is live, but it actually says the colours as well. It actually says blue-brown here, so, you know. There we go. Just don't want to turn it into a crotch cam. There we go. There we go. Oh, now the focus is out again. This is an experiment, and it may not work out, but for the moment, this is where we are. Mac84 Steve is here. Thank you for joining, Steve. I believe he's possibly going to be doing the same thing that I am. He mentioned before that he has an LC power supply that he's going to recap. But I just happened to start the live stream first. I got in first. And I once again forgot to ask Steve if he planned to stream. I normally ask him that. Well, actually, normal is not the right word, is it? I've missed it a couple of times, so sorry about that. I blame COVID. Can we still blame COVID for things? I don't know. There we go. Our chickens. Okay, so I've now separated that. You probably didn't see any of that. It's probably off camera. But anyhow, I've separated that, desoldered this, and now we have this board separate. Yours is an Aztec. Yeah, I don't know if it's an Australia thing, but almost all of the ones I come across here in Australia are TDKs. Exact same red marks on the caps. Why mine? Was wondering why mine had the caps. Yeah, I assume it's some sort of quality control thing. That would be my guess. I don't know that for certain, but that would be my guess. This metal thing, which is a bit of an annoyance, is actually riveted onto this board, so you can't really remove it. And of course, be aware also when you pull these apart, you end up with this bloody disgusting thermal paste here. What is that? And where did it come from? Patrick Pitts, hello there. Come on, come out, alcohol. Anyone hearing that will be sort of thinking, what the hell? It's a bit early though, isn't it? I just got to top this up. I'm not sure if I did. I don't think I did my hello for Dana. I'm not sure that. Hello. Some Australians talk like that. Are the chickens okay? Probably. There'll be a lot of pigeons there, I dare say. Let's say hello to the chooks. Hello, chooks. Yeah, hello, a couple of pigeons. That grey pigeon on the left there, one that's white and grey, it's a male. That pigeon has been part of the landscape here for such a long time. Anyhow, there's the blind chook in the middle. I'm sorry the picture's a little bit jerky. I think it's network related. Network related. What if I do that? Oopsie. Probably do nothing. Here we are. Okay, yep, no, it's not ideal, is it? It's sort of stopping and starting. Anyhow, we'll try and figure out what that is at a later date. Alright. Right. Let's continue on as if nothing is happening. Let's go back here to the top view. My new top view camera, which I hope is nice and clear for people. The biggest problem with these webcams is they're wide angle. They design them specifically as a wide angle lens. It would be much more beneficial to me if this one was a little bit more zoomy, a little bit closer in, so that I could have the camera further away from the subject matter. But that's just how it is. Smash that like button. Okay, well, we've got to get these caps off. Oh, there's a little bit of corrosion here. I don't know if you can see that, but there's still little speckles there. Probably means there's going to be some leakage. Let's start removing these. I'm going to have to put my other glasses on. I have these special glasses that I got made up that have a little magnify bit in them for me to be able to see. I'm going to be using the solder sucker here. I mean, yes, I could use a powered one, but to be honest, I can't be bothered waiting for it to heat up for so few caps. So I'm just going to desolder a few caps. I don't really need to remember where these all go, because I do have a guide. And there's a good chance that I don't have all of the caps I need. I think I do, but, you know. Here's the first cap, removed unceremoniously from the board. 270 microfarad, was it 25 volt? So yeah, there is a possibility when I come to put the new caps on, I won't actually have replacements for them. Because I haven't actually gone in and done an audit of these caps in a while. But typically when I run out, I do order new. But then sometimes I'll have like one in there and I need two, and I was like, ah, crap. So anyone who follows my live streams will know that I have done I did a couple of barn find restorations. So this is one of the ones out of one of those. And obviously I plan to sell these. I do plan to sell these computers, I mentioned in my streams before. And if I'm going to sell them, ooh, that smells, that one. If I do sell them, I need to sell them with recapped power supplies. So this is so that I am making these worthy of sale. A little bit of gunk on this one. Not crazy, but just around here I can see a little bit of residue. Should mention there are multiple models of LCPs used, and at my site, and Bruce has covered most of them. Yes, I've got one of them. I've got this one, this TDK one, and Steve's site has the other one. So if you want to put a link in that to share it, please feel free. As I say, pretty much almost, I think I've only ever come across one that wasn't a TDK. Remember when they used to make cassette tapes, TDK? Remember that? Anyone here old enough to remember that? I remember that. I'm old. Considering this was kept in a barn, this is actually in remarkably good condition. Inside, that is. I mean, outside's pretty crap. Colin is here. Hello there. TDK did make pretty good tapes. I actually, that was one of my favourite brands. If you look through all of my cassette tapes that I may or may not still have in a box somewhere. Now, I did want to mention something to you, Colin. So, I watched your PowerBook 150 video, which is immensely entertaining, by the way. So, thank you for that. I just enjoyed seeing you gradually get deflated by that computer, because as we all know, the PowerBook 150 was just such a budget computer, and it's prone to all sorts of problems. I might have a PowerBook 150, I'm not sure. But it's enough to turn you off restoring laptops, that computer. But I just wanted to make mention of when you were doing some soldering and you accidentally melted a connector. I highly recommend getting some aluminium tape or aluminum, depending on where you are. If I can just find, here it is. It's here. Just oops. Look, see, there's a problem. The microscope pushes that camera out of the way. So we're discovering problems as we go today. So this new camera may end up being returned to the old camera. But anyhow, we'll worry about that later. So this is the stuff. This is this tape that I buy, and it's just aluminium, but it's got an adhesive back. And if you're sort of working near plastic and you don't trust yourself to stay away from potentially melting it, if you just get some of this and you peel it off and you stick it over the connector while you're working, it can be enough to save it if you do accidentally happen to bump it with a soldering iron. And I have to confess, when you broke off that little pin of the coil, and I was like, just unwrap one round of it. It'll be fine. It'll still be fine. And then that's exactly what you did. I was like, yay! It felt like I was talking to the TV. Well, I felt like the TV was listening. How about that? Yeah, I actually I look at some of the stuff that you shoot for your videos, and I actually think, in particular when you're doing some of the stuff with your hands, I think that must be it must be quite inconvenient working on these things, because there's a camera right down the middle there. Oh, he fell out by himself. This one fell out by himself. So we've really only had one cap so far with a bit of residue on it. So, that's good on that. I reckon this power supply might have even worked, but we'll see. We shall see. Boop, 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 boop. People have often asked me, why do I use this and not the motorized solder sucker? The fact of the matter is I actually quite like using this one. I mean, if you've got to, I don't know, remove a RAM slot or something, yes, you go with the motorised one. But for a handful of caps like this one, it's a fine. Yeah, so I don't know what the second-hand market rate of a PowerBook 150 is. I sort of feel like they shouldn't be worth much, but, you know. I've got a 180 here somewhere. I think it's a 180 that doesn't work. And I just sort of feel with some of those old PowerBooks, you just look at them funny and they stop working. One of my favourite laptops that Apple ever made is the PowerBook 540C. It was a really nice little laptop, and of course it had a 68040 CPU in it, so you know you can play some of those old games quite well on it because it's quite zoomy. Well, zoomy enough anyway. So yeah, those two. Takes one bad cap to make a switch mode power supply completely fail. We will test that. How about we test that one that's leaking, and then maybe we blow it up. All right. That is the last little cap. And I feel like I might have desoldered the wrong pin here. I think I did desolder the wrong pin. Oh well. I will get the net right. I'll get it right next time. How about that? Yep, there's the diode. Let's solder that diode back on, and then we'll remove the correct one. I can tell you, Ryan, that the old Amigas, particularly the 600 and the 1200, have kind of two very regular problems they encounter. One is obviously leakage of electrolytic caps, and the other one is related to the composite video output. Having said that, most of the Amiga people I know don't actually use the composite video output, so I don't really care about that one. Come on, all right, Luke, come on. Which is your favourite laptop? You tell us the truth. I can see myself owning a 150. The fact that it doesn't use IDE does make it appealing. The 150 does use IDE, doesn't it? Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to mention, Colin. Get a copy of Hard Disk Toolkit, FWB Hard Disk Toolkit, onto your little blue SCSI for next time you need to format that, because it'll format and you'll be able to partition an IDE drive. So FWB Hard Disk Toolkit, it allows you to do either IDE or SCSI bus, and it allows you to partition, so rather than that crappy Apple one. It didn't see the drive. Which version were you using, just out of curiosity? To be honest, I've never tried on a 150, so I could just be talking nonsense. Okay, so, well, all the caps are off, and I really only see two that have left a bit of residue behind, and they are two little ones. One here and one here. So they're probably this one and this one. Yeah, I can see it on both of them. They're both of the fishy smell. And one is a 56 microfarad 25, and one is a 270 10 volt. So shall we just check these and see whether they're still in spec? Shall we? Actually, I probably should use this device here, because this one I can actually stick them into a little into a little ZIF socket. Okay, let's pop that in there. If the pins are long enough, are the pins long enough? I think they are just long enough. Yeah, okay, well that's interesting. Look, it may well be the case, as I say, I don't have a 150 so I can't check, but I would have thought that I think version 3, 2 or 3 onwards, and of course you've also got that balance of it still needs to work on a system 7, but yeah, I think so. So this one is saying 299 microfarad, and this is meant to be a 270, so we're still relatively in range. What about this one? But having said that, leaky. Can't have leaky. This is 56. Bing. $56. There we go. So they're actually still testing in spec, but there are a lot of things that, you know, things like the equivalent series resistance, which I didn't even bother to pay much attention to. I was doing that. But we will worry not about that. We'll just put new caps on. So I'm going to get clean a little bit underneath the area where the leakiness was. E-mate met an untimely demise when the earth pin snapped off the AC adapter in the UK. They're plastic and got stuck in the socket near the fish tank, probably still there today. Interesting story, Luke. And my mother threw the entire unit in the bin, not just the charge of the whole unit. Well, was an E-mate. The funny thing is that the E-mates have become collectible now, but at the time I just thought they were the biggest waste of space. I had 2, and I sold 2, because I'm like, what am I going to use this for? Every time I used to fire it up, and be like, oh, this is cool. And then I could never think of anything to do with it. I'm like, this is very... and it might suit some people. I could probably use it now because I do a lot of writing. I didn't then. I'm doing a lot of writing. I mean, having a little device like that, I can take around and just write wherever. That's with a, you know, decent sort of keyboard on it. So yeah, I could probably make use for it now. But anyhow, I sold them both. I did reasonably well out of it. It was at a time when they were becoming fairly collectible. So I don't, you know, I mean, that was nice. It was money in my pocket for the time, but I really should have kept one. I have 2 perfect Amiga 500s that got thrown away on accident during my move. Whoopsie. I've got one Amiga 500 and I've been meaning to sell it for ages, but I keep forgetting. I've got to just list it on Marketplace or something like that. Yeah, I've got no idea what the E-mate is selling for these days. You know, there's obviously, for people who aren't familiar with the E-mate, was it E-mate 400 or something? I can't. Did it have a number after it? I can't remember. But anyhow, they were green. They were plastic. When they are closed, the screen resembles buttocks. But they were essentially the Newton operating system in a sort of a laptop. So they had built-in software. You could add stuff to them. You know, battery powered. They were designed for education. I think they had an infrared communication-y thingy on them, didn't they? So, but you know, they're just not. I don't know. I mean, you know, it was very soon after that the whole Newton thing got thrown in the bin by Mr. Jobs. Amiga 500 to $600 easy. Ooh. Even if it's got a cut on the side where someone put a Gotek in there and actually cut the plastic, that might take some price off it. That might take a little bit off it. The bum laptop. Yep, indeed. Okay, so time to put some new caps in. So for this, we of course do need a recapping guide. So we're going to flick over to this little guy here, and we're going to go to, watch this. Yeah, look at it. How fancy is that? I've gone so fancy. So I am pretty sure I have every single one of these, but we'll work our way through them. So we'll start off with the 10 volt. So I got 4 10 volt caps on here. So let me grab the container with the 10 volt caps in it. Oh, there we are. It's up there. Oh, standing up is so hard these days. Oh, well, that probably didn't help the microphone. I was leaning up against it. It was probably like... Hey, Toilet, how are you? Yeah, YouTube's a little bit funny when it comes to the notifications. And this is one of the problems with the fact that I don't actually stream with any serious regularity. You know, I kind of stream when the opportunity arises, and so I'm reliant on the... I sometimes post it on my Facebook page. I haven't been doing that lately, and I should, because then at least people can they can maybe get a notification in Facebook, I suppose. A is good. A is good. Yeah, so, I mean, anyone who's... look, I'm pretty sure, Steve, if you're still in the chat there, I think you've got some interesting videos on the Newton history. Probably Colin from This Does Compute probably does as well. So, you know, if anyone is interested in the Newton story, it is quite a fascinating one in terms of them building this thing and building it a little bit ahead of time. And probably the biggest problem they had with the Newton really was the very first one they released. They released a bit prematurely. Things were still a bit clunky with it. And so that was probably the biggest mistake they made with it. They did refine it and became a lot better, things like the handwriting recognition. But I mean, you know, yeah, that was the kind of thing, yeah. All right, so we're going to get a 270 10 volt, which I hope to have. 270 10 volt, there's one right there. And we're going to get a 3 1000s. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000. These look like the nice ones here. These are 1500. Oh, here we are. Here are the thousands up here. They're up here. 3 of them, I said, yes? That's what I said, wasn't it? Yes. Okay. Back lid for a PowerBook 1 XX 140, 145, 160, 180. Rear display housing. I've given up hunting for one in my own country. I mean, look, I probably do. I've got bits of 180 over there. I mean, I might fix it one day. That's the only problem. I do sometimes fix things. Very occasionally. Alright, so we've got the little 27010. He goes here. Plus on that side. He was our leaky one. No, was he? No, he wasn't. Was he? What? I thought there was a 27010. Yeah, there we are. So it looks like we might have actually had 3 leaky ones, because I don't think I tested this one. And I think I should. I should test this one, because this one was leaky. Last minute critical bug in the ROM, and Apple employees had to drive to computer stores to open up all the boxes to install an update. Oh wow, I want that. I so want that to be true. Okay, just testing this one. It says it's a capacitor, and we're getting 299. So this is for a 270. So we're a little bit over there, but it's probably still within spec. Most of these are spec'd at about sort of 10 to 20% either way. All right, so cap goes in the little thing. 270. These have got a label on them, so if I just go here to this view, we've got, if you have a look here, we can see there's a little dot, a little square, and the square is to indicate the striped side. So we've got a striped side of this cap here, and the striped side also is slightly, no, the striped side is the shorter side. So that is going to go in there, so the positive in the opposite direction. So I'll just check and make sure that that is what I'm saying is right. Yes, it is, because I do tell fibs sometimes. Sourcing Japanese-made birdseed. Oh, a birdseed. Sorry, you're talking about the stuff on the other side. And caps and whatnot. I'm a Japan Electronics. I overspending on components. I just buy Chinese stuff. Seriously. Actually, a lot of this stuff, I'm not even sure it's necessarily all manufactured in China. Some possibly is, some possibly aren't. But yeah, I generally, when it comes to the birdseed side of things, so we're talking about ceramic capacitors, we're talking about resistors, maybe inductors, maybe an occasional diode. I go with the cheapest option. I buy from a place that I can't remember the name of, but I might be able to look it up later on and tell you. Alright, so we've got, this is 1000 microfarads, so there's 1, 2, 3. There's one here. These are nice caps, by the way, these ones that I have in my hand here. They're good quality ones. Pretty sure they're Panasonic brand. I tend to go for Panasonic brand when it comes to electrolytic. They've got a pretty good reputation. Okay, that's our 3 1000s in there. So, let's get these soldered in. Now, when I'm soldering electrolytic caps like this, I do a slight little bend of the pins. I don't bend them that much, and there's a very good reason for that. And I've mentioned this before. I do a lot of rework. You know, a lot of you know, replacing old components with new ones. So you're having to take things out and put new things in. And I actually don't like the way when people bend the pins really hard. It makes it getting the old component out harder. So I'm thinking about the next guy. The next person, the next male or female that will come and have a look at this and go, oh, thank you to the last person who worked on this for not bending the pins, because it's made it easier to take the component out. And then what I'll do usually is I will solder one side, just one side. I'll wait for the soldering iron to heat up. How about that? Bip. I'll do one side there. I'll do one side here. I'll do one side here. And one side here. Oh, geez, I probably should clean these pads, you know. I might clean these pads. This is where that corrosion sits, and I think this will benefit from a little tidy. Okay, what are we doing here? Whoopsie. My wick came out of its container. So I'm just going to get some wick here. I'm going to give a bit of a gentle rub here just to get any excess solder off. And then I'm going to give it a little bit of, oh god, that stinks. Give it a little scrapey scrape. Make sure these pads are clean enough to then take on some new solder. They look pretty good to me now. North. Now, my last live stream, I was working on an SE30. Well, I replaced the keyboard. The computer has gone back to its owner. They're very happy. They told me that the stuff that was poured into it was probably coconut water. So the residue that we saw on the keyboard when we swapped the keyboard out was probably coconut water. Then I worked on an SE30 that's giving me a sad Mac chime. So what I'm doing here is I put my finger on the cap, I go onto the other side and I melt the one pin that I've soldered, and I push so that I'm getting it flush onto the board. So I do that for each of the caps. Just pushing it, getting it flush, you just feel it click into place. And that one there. That's why I only solder one side, so I can get them nice and flush on the board. So they're nice and flush, and then I solder the other side. Yes, the SE30 with a sad Mac chime. Now, I went and checked some of the address lines coming from the RAM slots. Was it in the RAM slots? I'll check something. And to be honest, everything was fine. And I need to probably start looking through the data lines. Okay, there we go. There's a bunch of caps on there. Picked up an LC. So Zach, how am I supposed to pronounce that? It looks like it's meant to be pronounced Zackass, but that's probably not right. It's probably Zackass or something like that. Anyhow, just let me know. I picked up an LC, 2 SC30s and an ADB mouse and keyboard yesterday for $120. Look, you did very well there. 2 SE30s. I mean, an LC, I mean, over here, a recapped LC, no keyboard or mouse, but just the LC, you're probably going to pay $150 for it over here. I would say somewhere around about that. Unrecapped, probably 100. Like Jackass, but with a Z. There you go. So I got it right the first time and didn't cause any significant offence. That's good. And the SE30s, they can go for an absolute mozza these days. So, you know, I mean, certainly in this part of the world, in Australia, where vintage computer prices can get a bit nutty, you're going to pay over $500 for an SE30. And even one that's not working, you're probably going to pay in the hundreds. So. Be careful with those green China capacitors. I saw you also use in other videos. They start to swell in 1 to 2 years. Yeah, they might have been. Gee, that'd have to be an old video because I haven't used those green ones in a while. They're a low ESR cap that I buy from the local electronics retailer, but I haven't bought from them in a long time. I buy all my stuff now from OS. Usually from DigiKey, mainly because their delivery is cheap and fast. And cheap, when I say cheap, I mean free. As long as I spend over 50 Australian dollars, I get the delivery for free. You've got SC there, but I assume you're talking about SE, as in single-ended. Was excellent, so I just normal recap needed. The other was a total loss on the main board because of battery explosion. Well, one thing you can look into there, Zackass, is that there is an SE reloaded board. So that is, someone has gone in and completely re-engineered and the SE30 board and made the the Gerber files available. So you can actually go and get, and actually there are companies out there that have them all ready to go. You get a blank board, and then you just have to move all the components across and then replace anything that's been damaged. Usually in a battery bombed SE30, what gets damaged are the real-time clock chip, a couple of diodes that sit underneath that, and the crystal oscillator. They're usually the main components that get damaged. So the oscillator, easy to replace. The diode's easy to replace. The real-time clock chip is actually an Apple thing, but someone re-engineered it or something. And I mean, I think you can even get adapters and stuff. But anyhow, I mean, I actually have a bunch of spare real-time clock chips because I think I bought the entire supply of them. Free shipping. I've spent $200 and still need to pay for shipping. Yeah, well, different here in Australia. I think the deliveries here in Australia come from somewhere in Asia, and the shipping from out, sending stuff out, from Asia to Australia is quite cheap. Two versions of the RT chip for the SE and SE30, but it's actually, I think it's the same real-time clock in the Plus as well, isn't it? I could be wrong, but the later versions of the real-time clock chip that were in the, I think, Classic, they're a different type of chip. One is a DIP chip, the other one is a PLCC, but they are ultimately the same chip inside. So with an adapter, you can actually make those later real-time clock chips work on the old one, if it's the one I'm thinking of. I could be thinking of the wrong thing, which, yeah, I am. I am thinking of the wrong thing. I'm thinking of the 8-pin one, not the little 6-pin one. is this one. So you can stick in the PLCC chip there, and then some pins here, and you can stick that on. But that's for SE. That's for the SE. SE30, the real-time clock chip, is only 6 or 8 pins, I think. But anyhow, I have plenty of those real-time clock chips. I got them from what's that place called? Sells lots of components. Oh, I can't remember. I keep the wrong word keeps popping into my head. It'll come to me later. UT Source. That's it. UT Source. Not always. It doesn't always work, but and of course the funny thing is that if you accidentally create a demand for something, the price of it starts going up. So, for instance, when I saw that they had the real-time clock chips, I bought a whole bunch of them. Next time they went on there, the price of those had gone way up because someone obviously went, "Oh, there's a demand for these." Up goes the price. So you kind of have to be the first in to grab those things when they're available. I also managed to pick up a whole stack of VRAM chips for the SE30. What else have I got? I've got what do you call them? CUDA chips for a lot of the Macs, like the Color Classic and stuff like that, and the LCs. I've got sound chips for the Classic and the LCs. I just managed to get these, which is great. I'm going to recap the LC and good SE30 and see what I can get for them, and then build a modern PC in the case of the Battery Bomb SE30. Or you could keep them. Yes, I'm manipulating the market. Sorry about that. Hello, Joe. Yeah. I think I've finally discovered what made my Classic 2 unhappy. I'm going to replace the ROM slot. Does the Classic 2 have a ROM slot? Oh, you talking about the socket? So the ROM socket? Yeah, and make sure that the Classic 2, is it the one with the 4 chips or the one with the 2? There's 2 different types of Classic 2 board. There's two chips and 4 chips, 4 ROM chips. The ADB chips are crazy expensive on UT Source now, like $250 each the last time I got a quote. Oh boy. I wonder if I have any. I hope I do. Because now you've made me nervous. Oh, and of course, be warned, if you're looking, if this is to everyone out there, if you are doing your own repair and you happen to be searching, and you're searching for the code of a chip, there are lots and lots of Chinese providers out there that you'll type in the code, you'll get sent to a web page, it'll come up and it'll say that they have, 4,000 of these in stock, right? And you inquire for a price. So you press a button saying inquire for a price, you put in your information, and the next thing you know, you get contacted by a sales rep, and that sales rep will ask you what you want, and you tell them the name of the chip. They'll go away, they'll come back, and they'll say, sorry, we don't have any of those. So those web pages that come up and say they've got like 6,423 in stock are just bogus. So don't get suckered in, and then the next thing you know, they'll be emailing you constantly. And there are also companies out there that will manufacture fake chips. So you ask for a particular chip, find out what package it's in. They will then just get a whole bunch of those packages, and then they will screen print on the code that you want and then sell them to you as if they are the real thing. So that's why I use UT Source. They at least have some warranty behind what they're selling you. I have a 3D scanner, 3D printer, and a CNC machine, so I'm itching to come up with an easy way to mount a modern ITX board in a classic case. Cool. Yep, well, you've got all the bits. So you should be set. Mine has 2 big sockets. Okay, cool. So the one with 2 big sockets, I think from memory, I moved a lot of the boards lately, so I may not actually have one here. I think from memory, the Classic 2, first of all, those ROM, I think those ROM chips can be put in the wrong position or upside down. So that's always the first thing to check. But then the other is that the Classic 2 in particular, if you've recapped it, has a few areas where there are wires that run very close to the capacitor pads. And one of the things that I've sort of mentioned in my sort of streams before is that if you are replacing electrolytic caps with tantalum caps, the tantalum cap pads are wider than electrolytic, so they hang over the edge. And if there is a trace running close to that pad, and that trace maybe got a little bit of the UV mask scraped off it during recapping, you put that tantalum cap down, you can create a short circuit. Most of the classic 2 problems I have encountered have been that. They've actually been caused by a tantalum cap in place of an electrolytic cap, and that pad, that wider pad of the tantalum cap, is creating a short circuit on wires. So just look out for it. I'll just mention it. Ryan, thank you very much for the live stream. See you soon with repaired broadband. Very important to have repaired broadband. I have broadband. I actually have fiber here, fiber internet, which is it's kind of lucky to get because they rolled it out here in Australia. They rolled out fiber internet, and then there was a change of government, and the new government came in and decided that it was more than we needed, so they started going with a compromise option, and they started running fibre to our node, and then the node went from used copper to the homes. So you got fibre into a node, and then from the node you get copper out to the homes, whereas I actually got fibre to the premises here, so there's actually fibre coming right into the house. So I'm very happy about that, and it is very good and reliable internet that I have here, I have to say. Are they permanent, or do they only exist when a cap is present and shorting? Yeah, no, it's only if the cap is on there that you're going to get that short. If I had a classic 2 board here, I would show you. But if you have a look at my video, I've got a video called "What to Do When a Recap Doesn't Work." It's also got that awesomely awesome Dan from Canadian Computer Collector on it. I think it's in my featured videos, and it's what to do if recapping doesn't work, and I go through a whole series of steps, and one of them I actually go into some detail about this problem and what you can potentially do about it. So as I say, just look out for it, because the Classic 2 is one of the boards that has traces running really close to the electrolytic pads, and so it's susceptible to that problem. Let's get some more caps on this, shall we? 25 volts we're up to now. 25 volts. So I'm going to get up here. I'm going to make more old man noises. I got that there. Put this one here. There we go. This is my container of 25 volt capacitors. Or as, oops, I just bumped the camera. Or as Dave would say, cap ass. Get some capacitors here. Again, image, I just don't get a mouse or question mark. Okay, so it's not loading the ROM. So yeah, you're probably on the right track there, with the ROMs. Dip, 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 dip. Reset does change the screen pattern temporarily. Cool. So that means that the reset button is working. So that's good. It means it's not locked on. Sometimes reset can be locked on. But if your reset is making a blip, then it is resetting, but it's just not properly loading up the ROMs. Okay. All right. What are we after? We're after a 47. Oh, look at that. Oh, crap. It's my last one. It's my last 47. I better order some more. Thankfully, I only need one for this, but I will need to order some more because I have more of these power supplies to do. Can't be having that. One of the things that I do if I need to remove large amounts of through-hole stuff, like for a PDS slot or something like that, I actually stick them on a hot plate, and then when it gets hot enough, you can just pull the thing out. There's risk associated with that, trust me, but it's probably the easiest way. Okay, we've got we'll just jump across here. We'll show people again because we've got this new screen here, so I've got to overutilize it. So we've got a 4725. We need a 5625, just one of those. Zippity-zack. And we need two 270s. Two 270s. So I've just cleaned myself out of 270s as well. So I'm going to have to order a few more caps. I just did a cap order recently, but as I said, I only need to spend $50 before I get free delivery, and to be honest, it's pretty easy to spend $50 on caps. So that's it for the 25s. Pop that over there for a quick moment. Coax can be an absolute pain. I had coax at my last... When I used to live with my parents, I had coax there, and to be honest, look, it was better than other options available. It was better than, what was it, ADSL or whatever, people using the copper wires. But the main issue with that was the shaping was focused so much for the one that I use. It's probably changed now, but at that time, the focus was so much on download speed. Can I? Yeah, we can do this. We can do this. There we go. Yeah, it was so much on download speed that it actually upload was just painful, absolutely painful. And of course, in this day and age, upload is just as important as download. I mean, when you're talking about off-site backups, you're talking about video conferencing, live streaming, as I am doing right now. I mean, you need to have fast upload. The way people are just sort of sharing files with each other, you know. I mean, you have a Dropbox or something like that, and you pop something in there, and it's got to upload to Dropbox for someone else to grab it, that sort of thing. Time to go home. We'll check back later. Hurry home, Dana. Hurry. See you soon. Okay, so let's get these caps on here. I'll find out what this is. The 5625, and that goes to... Oh, hang on. Yeah, I did. Sorry, everything's fine. Okay, so what was I saying? 5625. That's over here. 5625. This goes in this little spot there. There's a little negative into there. There we go. And we'll pop this one in. It's a slow recap, folks. I'm sorry about that. Someone doesn't like coax. Okay, this one is 4725. That's the one down here on the edge. Okay, and then we've got these two here, which are 27025. 27025. Got our little negatorio in there. And there we go. They can still blame COVID. Okay, so I'm sorry you're having technical issues there, Ryan, but and I'm also sorry that I've been doing this so slowly. Otherwise, we might have actually been able to test it by now. But you know, I just get into that mood and then I start chatting away. I remembered the name of the TV series I'm watching at the moment. It's called Counterpart. I don't know if anyone's heard of it, but I'm really enjoying it. It's very clever. Very clever. Clever. This one's already pretty flat, so there we go. There's this one. Just pushing them down, getting them nice and flush. And this one here. There we go. Okay, so we've got those all soldered. And then we just need to do the other side. See, if I was using the other camera, you'd be staring at my head right now. Supposed to warm up a little bit today. I think the forecast is for like 32 degrees Celsius. That's a bit of a warm one. What is it now? 26. It's actually 28 here. It's always a little bit cooler on the coast, which is what you're seeing up in the corner. And tomorrow it's supposed to get up to 40. 40! I don't know what that is in the old money, but it is hot. I can tell you that. 40 is uncomfortable. The warmest it's ever got here is 45, this particular part of the world that I've experienced. I'm sure it's been warmer in history. Watching Trina unboxing zip drives and other junk. I have 3 to recap here. Well, I can tell you what, I've got 3 to recap as well, but I'm only going to be doing 1 because I just ran out of 2 of the important caps. 40. Oh, I'm streaming at the same time as Trina, am I? Okay. Sorry, Trina. I don't do it on purpose. I've been finding quite a lot of people have been doing these group live streams, people like Dave and stuff like that, and I'll be terribly honest here. I like these people very much, but I don't particularly like the big group live streams. I find them a little bit... there are times when the noise is just too... You know, there'll be someone in the background clunking things and stuff, and I just find it a little bit difficult to watch. Incidentally, this is really nice the way this power supply has a nice little line here to show you the difference between the primary and the secondary. So this is the part where you can hurt yourself, and this is the part where you shouldn't hurt yourself. Oh, and if you ever happen to power one of these up, right, and then you switch it off and then you dismantle it, make sure you discharge this big fat cap, because that can hold a charge and hurt. Ah, Sean is here. Hello there. Haiku. Have you installed Haiku on your little plaque from YouTube yet? Because I figured that's got to be one of the first things you'll do with it. Sean loves his Haiku. I haven't tried Haiku, and we're not talking about the poetry. I think we're talking about a Linux distro, aren't we? Or something like that. But I haven't tried it, but based on what you've been saying about it, I haven't watched that video yet, so I do apologise, Sean. But that video that you did recently where I think it was you tried to do a whole week or something using Haiku. Turn that plaque into a giant mouse. Oh, it's its own unique OS. Okay, what is it based on? I mean, you know, is it something like kind of Unixy based sort of thing, or how well does it do like multi-CPU and threading and all that sort of stuff? It's based on BOS. Oh, okay. So BOS is sort of based on a kind of a Unixy type thing, isn't it? From memory, I think. Thank you for the super chat, Ryan. BIOS was totally bespoke. Well, there you go. Modern implementation of BIOS, which is Unixy but not Unix. Okay, fair enough. And like things like threading and stuff, you know, when you're using it with like a multi-core or multi-CPU operating systems, does it distribute well across multi-CPUs? Does it handle that sort of stuff well? That's always something that's been very important to me. I hate the idea of having a computer with multiple CPUs and not getting the use of them. I look up here now and I see this computer has, 8 cores, and I see the little things showing me that they're all being used. Then that makes me happy. It's the retro computer YouTuber hangout lounge. Yes, it is, isn't it? Who's missing? Is anyone missing? We'll see if we can get Dan, Canadian Computer Collector here. We'll see if we can get what's his name? Crap, I've forgotten his name. Nothing wrong with me. Crazy Ken. See if we can get Ken in here as well. He pops in and says hello every now and again, but he's a busy man. Busy man. We've got one more cap here. I'm not even sure if I have one of these. It's an 8.2 microfarad 50 volt. So I'm just going to go here to the screen view again. My fancy screen view there. We're all We're all loving this new view. All right, 50 volts. Excuse me again. I'm going to make some old man noises as I bend over to grab this 50 volt container that's all the way over here. Oh, geez, if I had longer arms or longer legs or something, that would be a lot easier. But it's the only place I've got shelves that I can put things, so that's why my caps are over there. Show some love for the smaller YouTubers. Yes, indeed. Always. 8.2, there we go, look, I got them. Okay. There is, you know, it's good to see, you know, sort of people getting into the YouTube stuff. I mean, you know, the most important thing with it is that you're enjoying it. That is the most important thing. Let's go back to the top view. Today's my birthday, the big 4-4. Joe, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, Joe. Oh, Joe did a haiku, did he? Come on, where is it? Where is it? Walking down the street, the leaves crunch beneath my feet. Hey, look, an SE. There we go. Sorry, I did miss it. I was too busy finding out about the operating system to worry about actual poetry. I've been lurking just... how is Gus going, by the way, Steve? Steve's had an unwell bunny, but by all accounts, the reports I've been getting lately is that Gus is improving. Do-do. 8-bit guy and Adrian here too. I don't actually have any contact with either of them, actually. I don't think I've ever had any contact with Adrian. It's possible, but I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. Oh, I've got axial caps to stick on another SE30 as well. So, okay, I've replaced all the caps. That's done. They're all done. They're done. The only one I haven't done is this one here. And I guess we could take him out and test him if we wanted. But, you know, I've just never really had much of an issue with the great big fatty one. I'm just going to check and make sure that I've got all of the polarities correct. So, we've got... Let's plus up that way. Plus, oh, plus is up for almost all of them there. Up, 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 up. And then that one's to the right, and that one is to the right. Yep, cool. They're all right. So assuming I put the right caps in the right places, we should be fine. And that is an assumption that I have made. That may not be correct, but we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Everything's fine. How are you? Alright, so now I have to put this back together and then we'll test it out. I have, okay, so Zach Ass has actually said this whole thing with Retro Computer started by listening to Adrian and 8-bit in the background while working on my 3D printers. I have, so for me it started, well, first of all, I worked with vintage Macintosh computers professionally. I mean, they weren't vintage when I used them. They were the latest and greatest. But when in the first job that I had, first, I guess, career path that I had, I'd had a couple of jobs before it, but in the first career path I had, I worked in a pre-press design studio, and they had a lot of Macs there that were used for design and pre-press. And at the time I arrived, there were probably things like SE, SE30, I think there was a Mac Plus there. There was a 2CI, I think a 2CX. I think we might have even had a 2X there. Later on we had a 2FX. So anyhow, we had these and we were using them professionally. So for me there's a real nostalgia. And then the very first computer I bought for myself with my own money was a second-hand Mac 2. So again, there's a lot of nostalgia associated with stuff. So that's really where I got my passion for this vintage stuff. And then it waned I stopped really caring about it for ages, and then I actually started doing computer repairs, not vintage computer repairs, modern computer repairs. And then from that, then started getting into the vintage computer repairs, and then just started wanting these old Macs. So it was just that, the feeling I got when I sat down in front of a vintage Mac was always like, it's just a wonderful feeling. And so I was like, I want more. And now I have lots and lots of Macs. Lots of them. All right, let's get this thing back together, shall we? I need to solder on these wires that I unsoldered before, which are the ones that actually, these are the hurty ones, the hurty wires, the ones that go to the mains power. And in this part of the world, that will be somewhere between 230 and 240 volts AC power. Brown is active or live, blue is neutral. Some people actually, the way they remember is they think, well, if you hit the brown, you're going to end up with brown underwear. That's one way of remembering it. But I remember it based on blue being calm. Calm blue, calm. Blue is calming. So I think of blue as being the neutral, because it's calm. I wonder where Mr. J is today. He contacts me at weird times and says, when are you streaming? And then when I do stream, he doesn't turn up. He might be lurking. He might be like in the garage or something like that. He's been doing a lot of garage work lately. Okay, so that's soldered back on. Just for anyone who missed the beginning, I desoldered that so that I've got the board that I can move around a lot easier. Then we have to put this together. This goes this way around. There's a little circly bit here, and that goes around there. So I just sit down there like that. Get in there, get in there. Oh, it does get in. There we go. Put that there. Come on. One of my chickens is making a bit of a noise. Who is it? It's going to be the black one, wherever it is. I think it might be off in the corner on the right there. It just sort of walks up and down this fence making noise. Being an a-hole. Just a reminder about Colin's wonderful video on the PowerBook 150. The PowerBook 150 is a very, very flawed computer, 4 shades of grey, passive matrix LCD. But the one thing about the PowerBook 150 that just will always baffle me is the fact that it doesn't have an ADB or Apple Desktop Bus port. So you can't connect an external mouse or keyboard. And that has got to be the dumbest thing in the world. So there we go. There's my little 2 cents about that one. Okay, so once we've got that in place, then we've got another piece of plastic. And this one goes, a little slot in here. That goes into there. There we go. And it's supposed to go inside though. There we go. And then we put the case on and we screw this in. But what we should do is put some thermal compound here. Right here. Because this big piece of metal, it's to try and get some of the heat dissipation going to this outside case as well. Why did Apple choose to use IDE in the 150? That's what I can't wrap my head around. Yeah, cost cutting. That was all. Keep in mind that, and this is something that I learned from Colin's video, is that they built it in conjunction with Acer. And my guess is that there was probably their recommendation. They would have been using IDE. IDE drives were cheaper to manufacture than SCSI because SCSI actually had its own sort of onboard controller, whereas IDE uses the actual computer. I think that's correct. I could be completely wrong, but I think that's the correctness. Okay, I need to grab my bag full of goo. That's not it. Here's my bag full of goo. Probably time to replace this bag, actually. It's got holes in it and everything. So I have a bag here, and half of this crap's fallen out because it does have a hole in it. So I do need to replace this. Yeah. What is this? Is this like a SCSI drive? This looks like a SCSI. Oh, and I've removed the connector. Yeah, it's a busted 2.5-inch SCSI drive, and I removed the connector to make another one work, because that's what it's all about. So I'm going to replace this bag because it's got a hole in it, but this is my bag full of tubes of goo. I've often talked about the whole tubes of goo that I use here. We've got this B7000 glue. Every house should have some of this stuff. This is really good if you're sticking things back together, like, you know how Apple do a lot of stuff with adhesive strips? And some of those adhesive strips, they're not terribly reliable when you replace them. So this glue can be used instead. And it is also one that you can heat to soften if you need to undo it. But I tend to use this B7000 glue instead of adhesive strips sometimes. It's really strong. Got a couple of little tubes of grease. Got to have grease. Got the old super strength araldite. Always going to have that. Bit of epoxy glue. Chem Tools Flux. Now I don't even know why that's there, but that's not going to stay there. I've got a little bit of thermal paste. This looks like what's that stuff called? Solder paste. That shouldn't be there. And oh, JB Weld. Got to have a bit of JB Weld in the toolkit. That is one sticky tube. And then I've got 1/2 of araldite and that sticky outy thing which shouldn't even be here. Okay. Yuck. Yes, back in the day, SCSI could be faster than IDE. This is true. And remember, what was that? There was LDV, low differential voltage or something. SCSI LDV. Does anyone remember that? That was a big old thing in the day. I remember all these things because I lived it. I was there. I was there, Gandalf. All right, this is actually what I wanted to get, the thermally conductive silicon grease. This stuff is really runny, so I'm going to have to be careful that I don't get it all over myself. Scudge. Okay, oops. Beep, 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 beep. I am going to get this on myself, you know that, don't you? It's going to happen. Long dangly values. Low voltage differential. Does that sound right? Low voltage differential. LVD, I think. I'll have to Google it later, because I like to at least be making some sense with what I say. Right, so that's there. Then we can put this plastic thing on here. Look at the rust on this, eh? Pretty nice. Patina, that's what they call it. Okay, that all went together quite easily. I've got a little bunch of screws here to put it back together. People didn't get to see me dismantle this one today because I dismantled it before the stream. Still getting used to this camera. Sorry, everyone. There we go. So, we've got... These all look the same. They all look identical, so it doesn't matter which one goes where. Screwdriver, please. Screwdriver. Screwdriver, here it is. I put it away because, you know, I'm such a neat and tidy worker. This one is really tough to undo as well, so not surprising. burst data rates of 80 megabytes a second. I actually have somewhere in storage a SCSI LVD drive, at least one anyway. I've got nothing that can use it because all of the stuff that I collect these days is too old for it. It's going to be embarrassing if this doesn't work, isn't it? At least we've always got COVID to blame, don't we? Not for much longer, though. I think we'll have to start finding something else to blame. Had a big bowl of ravioli, so there's a good chance I may pass out. I can cope. I can cope. I'll try not to cry too much. Okay, we're all back together. So when someone does this, it shows that they are very confident that it's going to work. I am not confident it's going to work, but I did it anyway. Now I need to go and get an LC of some description to test it. Now, do I even have my screen down here for checking? I think I left that up in the house. So we'll get the computer. We can at least check it for a chime before we load anything up into it. So I don't know. I used to have a great big tower SCSI thingy. You could just put SCSI drives in it. And I had one cable that came out the back, turn it into a great big RAID, amazing thing. When I went to go sell it, I thought, oh, this is great. The person didn't want the case. He was just going to throw it away. He just wanted the drives that were in it. All right, now am I going to leave this on and then just talk to you while I'm going and getting the computer? I'll do that. We'll see how the range of the microphone is while I walk over. I better change my glasses, otherwise I might fall flat on my ass. Wouldn't want that. Well, maybe we would. Okay, so we are transitioning from shed A to shed B, and I just walked through a spider's web. It already has, but it hasn't been recapped. So let us. Okie dokie. So, yes, it was a very difficult decision I had to make while I was in there. Which LC do we bring out? Well, I decided to bring out this LC2. Now, this is another one of the barn find ones, which you can tell from this. Let's see if we can get this camera a little bit higher up. And again, avoid the whole crotch cam thing. Might even be better off going with the side view for this one. Look at that, that's way better. It's way better. There we go. So, very, very dirty. I will clean this. So what I'm actually going to do with this, I'm going to probably chuck the whole thing into my gigantic ultrasonic cleaner. I've got a very, very big one over there. It's like 80 litres. I'll take out this RF shielding. If it was my own computer, I would take out that RF shielding and then throw it in the bin. But because I'm going to sell this, I'll probably hang on to it, even though it's a little bit rusty. No hard drive in here, but that's okay. I do have a hard drive for it somewhere. I think it's here. Yeah, it's there. I have to put it back in here. So, we've got a speaker, we've got a fan. We don't have any RAM. Should have, though, because this came with RAM. I just haven't put it back in yet. Boop. Is this the one that there was this one had? Yeah, it's this one. I'll just grab the RAM while I'm here, and the VRAM. We'll put that in there. We'll get it all ready to go. There's the VRAM. That's one RAM sim there. We just need to find its partner. Not that. Not that. Not that. Oh, could be that. I think it's that. For anyone who is... Oh god, I can't see this. Shit. Where's my other glasses? I'm blind! Throw the whole computer in the cleaner. Well, technically I sort of am, but just in bits. Okay, so that's the partner. So these are the two here, I think. The brand is MT. What's MT stand for? Not sure. It says USA. Okay. There we go. And then we can get some RAM in here and get him fired up. So these are 4 megabyte sims. So that, whoops, that will take this to its ceiling, its maximum of 10 megabytes. Got 2 on board here. Then we've got 2 4s, that'll take us up to 10 megabytes. Then I've got a 512k VRAM sim. That's as far as you can go with VRAM as well. From memory, it would allow you to get, what, thousands of colors at 640 by 480 and millions of colors at 512 by 384. Does that sound right? I think it might be, but it may also be not right. So, yeah. So the board's been cleaned. This board has been recapped and ultrasonically cleaned and works. Well, it's certainly worked before. So this power supply, I don't think has been tested, and I don't think it's been recapped. So I'm going to take it out and put it in my 2 recap pile. This one's actually in really good condition, all things considered. But I can't recap any more of these until I get more caps. That's the problem, because I did run out of 2 while I was doing this today. MT equals micron. Okay, there we go. Catch the rest of the live stream tomorrow. Wayne3225, I apologise for not saying hello to you. Thank you for that. And I hope I do something interesting. Okay, I just realised that I've got these. This one and this one. These should be in the corner like that. That's my new theme, having them in the corner. Taking up less space. Right. I probably should have this one as the top view, not the microscope view. Why would I have the microscope view while I'm in the side view like this? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Let's test. Here's our power supply. One of 3 things will happen with this. It'll do nothing, it'll blow up, it'll work. I know you guys all want it to blow up, but I can't promise you anything. Okay. Alright. I did say I was going to blow up a cap, didn't I? I probably should do that. I have to make good on my promise. Plug that in there. Pimp, 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 pimp. Okay, hopefully this will just fire up. I mean, we want to see the fan spin and we want to see a chime. So, 3, 2, 1. Yay! Recapped power supply, recapped logic board, computer ready for sale. I'll tell you what I will be doing though, I'll be dropping one of these in here, because whoever's going to buy this is going to be getting themselves a pretty nifty computer. So we'll have a blue SCSI, not this one, because this one has no components on it, other than the Raspberry Pi board. This one wouldn't work very well, and there's nowhere to stick the SD card or anything. So, but maybe this one. This one works. There we go, round that way. I have made a 3D printed mounting bracket for these. I designed one. Works for this one. Does not work for the later ones because they moved the mounting holes. Eric. They moved the mounting holes. Anyhow, I've had my say. I've had my say on that. I won't say any more. Here is the hard drive that was in this, 2.1 gigabyte SCSI. Oh, okay. Let's take that. So this one must go with another computer, so we better remove that. I'll pop it here. There. And it sits there. Why aren't you sitting flush? Oh, it's all right. It's going good. It's going good. I have checked this drive. This drive does work, but it's not what I'll be including with this when I sell it. Oh, floppy drive. We probably have to look at that too, don't we? I forgot about that. People expect floppy drives to work. I don't care if they work or not because I don't use them, but if I'm going to sell it... Oh yeah, I can understand not wanting to have them rattling around. That is why I do. It's had a wasp's nest living on it. This is why I do put mounting brackets on them. I mean, I even designed a mounting bracket so that you could mount a blue SCSI on top of the existing hard drive of a Classic or Classic 2. Very specific request from a customer. They said they wanted to keep the old drive in there for the noise, but they wanted to use a new drive for functionality. So I kept the old drive in there and then just mounted the other one on top and just made them a cable. Yuck. That's kind of gross, isn't it? Double-sided tape, yes. Good enough, eh? I have had some that I've held on with double-sided tape, but now that I have a 3D printer and I have the means to design things in with it, you know, sort of for 3D printing, I would much prefer to have things held in proper. Back to top view. Oh, it's a little bit blurry, isn't it? Still getting used to this camera. I mean, I might end up not using it. Starting to feel like the other one's probably still easier, even though I have to stand up and zoom. Let's go to show webcam settings and let's go to focus. Also got a bit of a strobe going on here. I'm going to try and fix. Other way, other way. Yeah, strobe gone. Alright, how's the focus? Is that alright? Is everyone good? Everyone? Good? Yep. Okay, LC floppy a few hours ago, yeah. Yep. The number of spinning hard drives that work is a diminishing number. So for $1 million, super rare. I know what I have. I know what I have. Don't you try and lowball me. This is an LC2. Super rare. Steve Jobs' signature inside. Okay, the drive itself is largely unaffected by that wasp construction. This is probably... Oh, wow, that is so crunchy. Need virtually a steel brush to get this off. Combination of mud and rust. I'll probably clean that up and spray it. So I'll sand it back with my Dremel. I'll just get the little Dremel wire brushy thing out, get that cleaned up, and then probably just put a primer, sort of some sort of rust protector undercoat sort of thing onto it. I mean, it's not seen, but I just don't want it to get any worse. Okay, floppy drive. Done these before. This is the auto inject drive, so that when you put a disk in here, like this one, CompuCrush. This is a fancy, I bet you no one's ever heard of this software before. CompuCrush. Peter Cook, no, not the comedian. This was software designed for manufacturing engineered stone for countertops and stuff like that. Okay, so when they put the drive in here, you get to a certain point, and then it takes the drive for you. It pulls it in. and that's why they're called auto inject. And there's quite a, this is, I could just tell by putting that in there, it's very, very squishy. It shouldn't be so squishy. Oh, Francois, good night. Francois, did I see you on someone else's stream the other day when I was skimming around? I could be wrong. Just getting this right. There we go. Dana is back. Welcome back, Dana. You'll be pleased to know that recap power supply worked a treat. And now we're just going to have a look at this floppy drive, because then it's a whole resto job. It's all done. So I need to close this down first. I do that by pushing that up and pushing that out, and then and then the bloody spring comes undone. Stroped spring. Where do you reckon it was joined to? There. There we go. Okay. So this goes in, this goes out, and then and it goes down. And it's supposed to just go kalunk, but as you saw, that one sort of went. Justin also starts his stream in 23 minutes. How dare he stream on top of me? Even if he did probably plan his way before mine. Oopsie. As I have said many times before, I stream when the opportunity arises, so I don't always get a chance to check whether other people are streaming. It's sort of like, it's just the time I have. Okay, so this has got to come out. It comes this side first. I haven't done one of these in a while. I'm starting to forget things. I'm forgetting the answers. What's going on? Thank you. Alright, so that whole top section comes out, and aren't we happy about that? And this is the bit that kind of needs all the resto work, because it's all the grease gets all sticky and yucky, and that we need to clean it all up. I'll probably get the worst of this off now with a bit of iso alcohol, but I'll probably just chuck this whole thing into the ultrasonic cleaner. Just get any grit from out of little, whoops, bits and spots and things and that. And there we go. So then I'll probably ultrasonic that, and then I'll just get some new grease onto it. I mean, it already feels better just with that iso alcohol in it. I was on Dave's stream. That explains where I saw you. Okay, cool. No, wait. Do they call Bunnings a Bunnies for short? No, just Bunnings. We just call it Bunnings. Or Funnings. Sometimes call it Funnings because it's kind of a fun place to go. And in actual fact, it's because it's like a, you know, it was a disruptor in this area. Before Bunnings was around, we had smaller hardware stores, and then Bunnings came in, and it's just like big warehousey type hardware stores. And it's just completely and totally taken over. I mean, it's you know, a lot of those smaller hardware stores weren't even able to survive. They've got one, I think, main competitor that's Mitre 10, but they're Bunnings. But then, of course, because they were at first, they were a bit of a disruptor. Later on, there was a alcohol shop called Dan Murphy's that started up here, and once again, lots of, you know, big stores, and they were another disruptor. And so I call Dan Murphy's Alcohol Bunnings. How long does this PSU take? Yes, no, fast forward. Watch the live stuff. New YouTube UI on web is absolutely terrible, especially for live streams. Oh. Da-da-da-da. No way to see the stream channel info or access the like buttons without closing the chat. That's just kind of stupid, isn't it? I don't even know what it looks like because I'm not looking at it. So I'm looking at OBS. What a load of OBS. All right, so then we've got this part. So this part's going to go into the ultrasonic cleaner a little bit later on. This part here, we've got to take this off. And in order to take this off, we've got to take this off. I'll probably clean around here, clean the heads, whip this off, and we will replace the cog in it. The eject cog mechanism thingy. Who's a fudge? Putting all the bits here in the hope that I won't forget them. Lose them. Yes, I'm sure that there are equivalents for these sorts of things in the US. I mean, so what you'll find in a Bunnings, first of all, they're very large. They're physically large buildings with big, warehousey type sort of arrangement with big, high ceilings, and it's not a proper covered roof or anything like. It's not like a ceiling inside a building. It's it's like a shed. It's like a gigantic shed sort of thing. And what you can get there, you can get tools, you can get gardening supplies, you can get plants, you can get kitchen supplies, bathrooms, plumbing, storage, cleaning. They even started selling pet food recently. They've got hardware for tradies, that sort of stuff, for doing drywall and all that sort of crap. Timber, metal, steel. Adhesives, crafts. They're a cool place to hang out. I mean, I really mean that sincerely. Here's our eject mechanism. Everyone, say hello to the eject mechanism today. Apple's Anonymous, hello there. The other thing about Bunnings is they do a thing on the weekends where they charities can sort of essentially use the facilities there to make a sausage sizzle. So cook up some sausages and then serve them up in a slice of white bread with some onions and some sauce. And then they charge a few dollars for it, and then all the money that's made from that goes to whichever charity. So if I had a charity, whatever it might be, or it could even be the car club that I'm in, it's a not-for-profit organisation, we could contact the Bunnings and say we would like to book a Saturday to do one of these. We provide the staff, our club people go in and make the sausage sandwiches. So it's become a sort of a thing with Bunnings of going and get yourself a sausage sandwich on a weekend. Okay, so this here is our famous cheese cog. Whoa, I just dropped. It's in my lap. Caught it. So the cheese cog was, as you can see, it's a different colour to these cogs. This is yellowy, that one's white. This was specifically designed with a softer material so that if this mechanism got jammed, this cog would break. And in doing so, would save the motor, because if it does jam, this motor burns out. So what you could do... Oh, I just broke the cog. Sorry. That's because it's a cheese cog. So anyhow, as these cogs get old, they get very soft and very brittle and very easy to break. And so they have to be replaced. So, just like that. It's in pieces. I have replacements here. Hopefully. Yay, I do. I managed to get these. I mean, look, I haven't bought any in ages, but I managed to get these from a guy who was sort of setting up a bit of a side business, making vintage computer parts and then selling them. It's just, a side hustle. And I bought a whole bunch of these from him because I think he just got them all made up in China. And then he stopped doing it. So people say to me, where do you get your cogs from? And I said, well, I got them all from this one dude, but he's not selling them anymore. So sorry. But you can buy them from other places. I think MacFX might sell them, I think. Cleaning off all the old stuff. Hello, eject mechanism. Cottage cheese is even softer than that. This is more like a hard cheese, like a Parmesan or a Romano or something, like Pecorino, something like that. Alright, cleaning off the old goop, the old grease. We will replace it with some new grease because it's just what we do. Just clean up all of my alcohol from here. Inside this mechanism, so you've got this little cog that spins around here. up in this section here, on the other side of this circuit board, there's a couple little metal prongs that stick down, and then on this, there's a little thing that sticks out, and as it rotates, it pushes those prongs so that it lets this know when it's done a full rotation. So when it's done a full rotation, there's a little switch in that, and that switch gets actuated by this little guy here. So, yeah, and you can feel it. When you turn it around, you feel there's a bit of resistance at one particular spot. It's just there. I can feel it. Click, 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 click. So, yeah, that's the thing. You can make this motor spin around by sending 12 volts to these two pins, and around it goes. And I do that to test it. Now we need some grease. My main system in my Mac Pro crashed the other day. Now I'm trying to recover bloody thing. Ah. You need them backup? No backup? I have always done a carbon copy clone on my main drive of my computer, so that if it does fail, I can then just clone it to another drive if the drive fails or something like that. But that's different to it crashing, isn't it? So, what sort of Mac Pro is it? Just out of curiosity? Right. Got some cogs in there. Then I'm going to send 12 volts to it, because that's what I do. Ah, 11.5, that'll do. So if I put this back on here, I've got some grit in there. Get away, grit. Which cog is that, Luke? Which cog? If you're referring to this cog, they're already. This is already available on, I think, Thingiverse. Someone's made one where you can actually do a print with several of them in the same one. The downside is that you've got to do it in resin. I've tried these on a, what are those other printers called? 3 letters or something. I can never remember what they are. But yeah, you've really got to do these with a resin print. M starts with M something printer. To the cog inside my Dell XPS M2010. I don't even recognize that because it's not a Mac. I'm a Mac snob. Mac snob. Alright, so when I put power to this, it should spin around. Just like that. Alright, you probably can't hear it, you probably can't see it, so I can feel it. But we will spin it around that way so you can see it. Come on. Come on! Stop being a fool. Yeah, you see it spinning around, doesn't it look great? Damn, I missed. Got to try and get it in the right position. I'm going to try again. There we go. Close enough. It's a bit too far. Close enough. Okay, so now we've got that out and that's done. We can then get my special tweezers. Oh, I've lost my special tweezers. I've got tweezers specifically for removing these little washers. Excuse me. Sorry, that was probably very loud. Can't find the tweezers. They're on here somewhere. Use these pliers instead. These should work. 1. 2. 3. 4. Now, be very careful when you're working on these. Around here, these switches, they're very, very brittle. Very easy to accidentally damage these little sticky uppy things. So these are little switches One of them tells the drive whether there's a disk in there. One of them tells if it's a high density disk, and the other one tells if the disk is write protected. So that's what the three things are for. Three things are for. Using Disk Warrior 531 after several attempts with other Disk Warrior versions of the system. So it's obviously not an what is it? AFPS, APFS, Apple File System, whatever. It must still be an older format, because Disk Warrior doesn't do Apple APFS, which is so frustrating because they've been saying they would do it for donkey's years. But they, you know, I mean, for years they've been saying they're working on it. And oh, here's an email where you can get contacted when it's ready, and it's like, I've done that, and I've done it like years ago. And yeah, I don't know, but it's frustrating because Disk Warrior was always the best drive recovery tool out there in terms of it getting drives up working again if they had a problem. It was brilliant, and still is for the old file system. But Apple file system's been around for a long time, so anything with an operating system on it running newer than, what is it, Mojave? I think Mojave's the last one that allows you to install an operating system on it that's not Mojave, not APFS. It might even be earlier than that. Anyhow. And they support up to Sonoma. Oh yeah, they support it. They support the operating system for running it, but they don't support APFS. If I say that enough, they'll finally do it. So it doesn't. It supports. It will run on Sonoma to repair a non-APFS disk. So in other words, it will run on Sonoma, and you can repair an external drive that's not formatted APFS, but you can't use it to restore like a Sonoma drive that's installed. You know, it got APFS in it. So they don't do APFS at all. But it will run on Sonoma to do non-APFS disks. Very frustrating. Makes me cross. Just cleaning up any old grease that might be lying around here. I don't need this drive to be absolutely spotless. I'm not necessarily concerned about getting this one absolutely spotless. I would never drop one of these into the ultrasonic cleaner, mainly because I just don't think this motor would do very well. And removing this motor is no trivial task. Yes, I've been calling it Mojave for quite a while. I did it in retaliation for so many people calling Bondi Bondi. So it's like, well, if you're going to go around calling our beach Bondi, I'll go around calling your desert Mojave. How about that? How about that? Okay, it's just got to get the old grease off. The fact of the matter is, virtually every drive I restore of these auto-inject drives, I never really managed to get them to have the same sort of eject power as they did originally. And I guess it maybe has something to do with the tolerances of those cogs, or maybe the motors are just getting old. I'm not sure. But that's just how it is. Okay, so, oh, there's a cockroach egg in here. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see if I can get this come down a bit. Yeah, crotch cam again. There we go. So, right there we go. That's a little cockroach egg. Yum. Yum. Who knew there'd be so much sort of insect work involved with this? Okay. Too far. There we go. I don't know. I'm not sure if I like this new camera. We'll have to see. we have to see. When you're working with this, be careful not to bend it too much. If you bend these sides too much, particularly this side here, you may end up having a bit of trouble trying to get it to eject again. Got to clean these heads. I generally do this with the microscope, so I'm going to jump across to the microscope now. So we'll go scope floor. Scope floor. I'll lift that camera out of the way. And I'll bring this out like this. It's going to look a bit crappy to start off with, but you'll see. You'll see. Okay, you can see the heads? See a couple of heads in there? I'm just going to give it a little bit of a clean. There we go. Now, if you're feeling particularly adventurous, you can remove this whole mechanism. You can remove this. You can't on this one though. This is some of the later drives, some of the earlier drives. You could actually take this motor off. This one you can't, or not easily, because it's all mounted in there. So these are the harder ones. But I just like to try and clean up this cog. What do you call them? Screw. There's a word for them. Corkscrew cog, something like that. Hello, Mano. Hello. We were just talking about you before. Your ears must have been burning. We were talking about your SE30 schematic. Try the original spec grease. You might get better eject action. It's called Dow Corning Molekite EM30L High Performance Synthetic Grease. I will try that. I'm going to copy and paste that because you know what? The chance of me remembering that are next to none. Okay, how am I going to do that? I'm going to go up here, go to my other screen, go higher. Come on. It's on Amazon. Okay, cool. Ba-ba-ba-ba. There we go. Copy. 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 And then paste. Put it in my shopping list. How about that? There we go. It is recorded. Right. Okay. I use sewing machine oil as well in some places. It's good stuff. Okay. Hello. Lost it. Incidentally, I use these little Q-tips, cotton buds, whatever you want to call them. I use ones with no plastic in them. Just so that I'm making a little less plastic waste. Yeah, there is a cricket, and I think he might even be in the shed here with me. Car grease, yes. Alright, so that'll do. I think I've got enough of the goop off there. I think. Still not ideal, but I much prefer it when I can actually take this thing out, but I'm not sure if I can with this one. Actually, no, I think I can. I can actually remove the heads, I believe. So we'll try that. Back to the top view. There's the top view. There we go. So I think we can then, yeah, we can do that. That's much better. That allows me to get in there and properly clean all the goop, because there's some goop there, I'm telling you. Yuck. Okay. So there's a little piece of plastic that sticks out the side of this, and then there's a little light interrupter thingy there. So as this slides backwards and forwards, it's that little thing there that dictates the position that this is in. Sorry, there's some fluff in there. We want fluff. We don't want fluff. Fluff be gone. Yeah. Yep. Okay. That's back in now. And that's there. Now one of the problems I have is I haven't actually cleaned the other part, so I'm not sure about testing it. I suppose we can test it without it being cleaned. It won't be that good, but we can at least see if it's going to eject a little. So what I'm going to do with this part is I'm going to ultrasonically clean it and then dry it completely out, and then I'll add the grease and stuff to it then. And then here's the grease. I'll pop some on here. Yeah. Here we go. Pop that on there. Looking good. And then we're going to pop some on these spots as well. So anywhere where there's sort of some contact being made between this and here. So we've got around these little spindly thingies here. And here. And here. Here. And here. There we go. Holy hand grenade of Antioch. There's a reference for all the Python fans out there. Okay. Right, then I've got a little thingy here. We all should have a thingy, shouldn't we? And we'll just pop that there. Down. There you go. And then I could just use this to push that in place. Oh, cool. I managed to actually not lose one of these. I have a tendency to lose these. Just one, not all of them. I just generally take 4 off, and then when I go to put them back on, there's only 3 there. But this time, 4 came off, 4 back on. Joy, oh joy, oh joy. Okay. Zippity zip. Then we've got our little eject mechanism. I shall have to go and get a screen in order for us to test this, won't I? Because I don't think I have any system disks down here. Da-da. It's amazing how much time gets taken up when you end up with a computer problem, you know, you sort of a computer failure or something like that. I've had times where I've had sort of a computer issue and you just think, and you end up just losing an entire day. Frustrating stuff. 5 is right out. Okay. Right, so we'll pop this on and we'll just test it. I will take this off again and clean it later on though, but yeah, good thanks. Yeah, good thanks. Alright, so pop that back on there. Attach a little springe, another springe. And then we need to put this little Duvalacky on as well. There we go. And so we've now got a drive. And isn't that great? Does it close a little bit easier than it did before? I mean, it's not properly finished servicing yet, but come on. Supposed to come out. Yeah, it's way better than it was. Before it sort of went zzz. Now it actually clonks down. Goes a clonker like that. It will get better too. How long do the heads last on the floppy? Well, I've really only seen ones go that have been damaged, that have actually been physically damaged. So I assume if they don't get physically damaged, they probably just keep on going. Keep on keeping on. Alright, let's get a computer up here. In order for us to test, we can at least test the eject, because I'll put a non-system disk in there, and it will be forced, it will be compelled to eject it. Alright. Drive in place. I know it's not in the holder, but that's okay. I won't tell if you don't. Okay, plug him in. So this is the power supply that was recapped before. So anyone who's been away, someone like Dana, went away, came back again, that's the power supply. Okay, so oh, it's spinning up a hard drive. Oh crap, I don't want to do that. I'm going to unplug it. Because it'll actually boot from it. I don't want that. No. Alright. So we're going to just try putting a floppy disk in. It will probably just take one look at it and then spit it out. I think this disk is okay. Yeah, I don't see any fungus growing on it or anything like that. So pop that in. Yay! And it's not zooming out. It's this little spring here that actually pushes the disc out, because that's like bump, bump. But once I get that a little bit more greased up, that'll probably be better. But anyhow, it went in, and it ejector-oonied. So I consider that a success. So there we go. Well, I think I've only got one more thing to do. It'll only take me a second to do it, so I will leave this here for me to clean that top section. Excuse me. It's going to feel good to get that done, and then as I say, if I can sell that for a reasonable amount, I'll probably put it up on E to the Bay on an auction, just to see what the market's like at the moment. I mean, I could just name a price on Facebook Marketplace or something like that, but I do actually want to know what the market's doing on LC2s at the moment. So, it'd be good if I could stick an FPU in it, but I don't have any. I'll see if I can order some for cheap or something. The power of Mac compels you. It does indeed. Yes, you pass out and wake up and there's ejection happening. There you go. I don't know what point you passed out, but I'm happy to fill you in on the gaps if you like. All manner of things happened. Alright, I'm going to be right back. I'm not going far, so I will stay in voice contact. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. I'm going to have a look over here. See if I can find what I'm looking for. Going over to the second shed again. coming back. It's the spider named Boris. Yeah, it's sort of spidery season here at the moment, so pretty much anywhere you go, if it's been left overnight, you'll find a spider there. Any sort of passageway where there might be get a flow through, so you're going to get insects. We have a lot of, in this particular area, a really common spider around here is one called the leaf curling spider. And they actually live inside a curled up leaf on the web. So you can tell them, the webs are fairly easy to see because there's the web, they do very intricate webs, you know, they're real master weaver type spiders. And then you'll just find a curled up leaf in the middle of the web, and then often two little legs sticking out the end. And they're just feeling for any vibrations on the web. And we get a lot of those around here. Still a bit of web there. Alright, so this is the SE30 I was working on the other day. Works beautifully. Hopefully still does. Worked beautifully. And I need to stick a couple of, excuse me, pull up my pants because no one else needs to see that. There we go. And then we need some axial capacitors that need to go onto this. 2 axial caps. Let's just have a look here. Let's go to the screen view, because we can. We'll go to the old recapper Mac, we'll go to resources, we'll scroll down a little bit, shall we? Yeah, resources, SE30. And we can go down here and we can see that we've got 2. We've got a 47016 and we've got a 22016. So, I generally put the 25 volt on. I put 25 volt in place rather than 16 because, and there we go. Redbacks. Redbacks are pretty. Redbacks are pretty much just like was it the Black Widow spiders? Is that them? I mean, you get bitten by them. They're painful, but they're not like deadly or anything. They're not like the Sydney funnel web. That is a spider. I'm telling you. Don't want to get bitten by one of them. They do have an anti-venom, but if you don't get the anti-venom, there's a very good chance you'll end up unalive. I've lost the cap for the grease. So for whoever that was commenting on that, I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. Ergt. Yeah, I've lost the cap. It's somewhere. It's on the floor or on the desk or something like that. But I've lost the cap. So the main spiders you want to look out for in this part of the world, there are some types of huntsmen that have, you know, like a painful venom. Not deadly, but painful. Big, teethy things. So some types of huntsmen, I think they're like a reddish hue. There is the, obviously the redback spider, nasty bite. There's the funnel web spider. You can get pretty nasty bites from the mouse-eating spider as well. And then of course there are tails of the white-tailed spider bite, but it's hard to know for sure. The white-tailed spider sort of gets blamed for everything. It's like, oh, we've got this unusual mark on your arm. It must have been a white-tailed spider, with very little actual evidence to say whether it was caused by a white-tailed spider. This is my thing. I 3D printed this. I designed it and I 3D printed it, and it allows me to stick a cap in and then bend these pins nice and straight for going into these holes. So I just have to make sure that I've got the right width, right distance. That's that one, and that's that one. So they're both the same big distance here. So I get that. Straighten these pins out. A moose once bit my sister. I poked a huntsman and he bit me. Yeah. Right. There we go. So look at this, and we just bend these bins down like this, so that they look a little bit neater. Because neatness is everything. Okay, so these have the stripe pointing to the negative, and these labels are positive there. And I'm pretty sure every single cap on this board has positive facing that way. It's very convenient of them, nice design. I had someone, I've been chatting to them on the facings of the book, trying to help them out with an SE30 video problem. And I think they got it solved, so it turned out to be a busted trace going to one of these VRAM chips. And I think they got it sorted. There are ways you can sort of tell things with these computers, when you know them, that is. Just got to wait for the iron to heat up. There we go. Okay, 2 little axial caps in their natural habitat. I get very frustrated. I don't blame people for doing this, but when I see people who put radial caps in place of the axial caps so that they then sort of bend them down and they have the wire running down the side, I don't blame people for doing that. I understand it's what they're the caps they're able to get hold of easier, but I just don't like the look of it. This is why I put these. That's why I actually spend the extra money to get the actual caps. That's what that's what the guides are for. That's why I have my recap and Mac guide, so you know which way goes which. Yes, Katy Perry was here. She performed in Melbourne. That's south of me. And Taylor Swift was here too. She just left, I think, yesterday. She did like 7 concerts or some crap. 7 concerts in Sydney, or 4 in Sydney and 3 in Melbourne, or something like that. I don't know. Anyhow. And I tell you what, those Taylor Swift fans, they are fanatical. Frightening stuff. Yay. Okay, so we're just going to check and see if this still works. Because, or are we? Can I be bothered sticking all the RAM on? Well, it has to be done, doesn't it? Not that one. That one. That one. Not that one. This one had 8 megs in it, I'm sure of it. Unless I raided... Oh, I think I raided 4 to test another board. Yes, I did. Okay, so this is the right one. It's just 4 of those sims are in another one of these boards. So everything fine. It's all good here. So we shall just test it with 4. Put the battery cover back on. X-Swifty. How does one become an X-Swifty? I'll be honest, I only know one Taylor Swift song. I mean, I probably know more, but I don't know who sings them. You know, if I heard them, I might go, yeah, I know that song, but I didn't know it was a Taylor Swift song. But I know she's got one called Shake It Off. I've heard of that. Da 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 da. That one. Da 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 da. But I'm not quite her demographic. Really. Could just power up the board, measure the polarity before we put the caps in. Could do that. But of course, the whole purpose of me having these recapping guides for these old Macs is to make it easier for people to do these things. So they can just whip all the caps off and then stick all the caps on. Don't need to keep any notes or anything like that. You know exactly which one goes where. Oh, crikey. Crikey. Doing my service for the peoples. There we go. Well, the camera could be a little bit higher, couldn't it? Anyhow. So I'm going to plug this in. I'll connect the little speaker up to it. I stepped on a speaker yesterday. Should we check and see if the speaker still works after being stepped on? I'm not happy about it. I can't imagine it works well if it does. Yeah, the wire's busted. I can't be bothered just faffing around with that right now. So we'll use this one here with a hole in it. I'm very frustrated with myself that I stepped on a speaker. Right, so here's the board. Here's the speaker. Here's some power. Plug it in. And I'll hold the speaker near the microphone so you can hear it. 3, 2, 1. Whee! Don't we love that noise? Love that noise. There we go. Sorry about the flicker, folks. We're slightly out of sync with the camera that's up there. That camera is shooting at a different frame rate to the screen. There is no flicker for me. These run at 60 Hertz. One of my cameras, not the one that's connected up at the moment, one of my cameras allows me to synchronize it, but this one doesn't. It's not really a feature that you kind of need on cameras anymore. You did when you had to film CRTs, but how often do people film CRTs these days? Flashing question mark tells us there's nothing to boot from, and that's because there's nothing to boot from. So that's another board we can call done. I'll just need to get the RAM from the other board and put it into this board, and then we're all good. I'll move this out of the way. I do wish I had more space for all these testing computers and that. You know, place would be good for just a big, great big work area, you know, up here. It'd be awesome. Okay, well. Yeah, it's almost a little high, isn't it? And sorry about the bar sign. I'll get that fixed before my next live stream. We can't be having a live stream without the bar sign. But I was faffing around here while I was cleaning up the other day, and I probably just knocked the plug out. So I've got to fix that. No, that wasn't the squash speaker. This is the squash speaker that I stepped on. I didn't step on it on purpose. It was an accident. But I don't just walk around trying to find things of value to step on. This is my speaker. So I now have to try and figure out what I'm going to do. I'll probably have to raid a speaker from one of my other working ones if I decide I want to sell the computer this came from. I feel pretty stupid that I did do this. And I think, you know, that's valid to feel stupid. There we go, just putting some solder onto this wire, and then I'm going to solder this back onto the speaker. And I'm going to just test the speaker, at least for continuity, or sorry, I should say for resistance, or what do they call it, impedance. So these are meant to be, this is a 16 ohms, so I should be able to put a resistor on a multimeter on this and test around about 16 ohms across the two pins. So we're going to do that now. Yep, 17. So there we go. So in actual fact, the coil is still intact. But as to whether it sounds good or not, I suppose we can test it with this LC, can't we? Try that, eh? That's also a 16, so it's the same sort of speaker. So I'm going to pop him on there, and we'll see what it sounds like. I reckon it's going to sound delicious. Alright, let's get ready for the noise, see what it does. Did you hear that? A kind of muffled sound. The first noise was just the wire getting hit by the fan, but let's try that again. Listen, here we go. I suppose I can use it for testing, but certainly not going to serve a life inside a computer for proper use. So, alright, unplug. Wacky-doo, wacky-doo, wacky-doo. Got to be time for lunch. What time is it? Well, it's definitely lunchtime. It's a derpy speaker, it is indeed. Okay, so what do we get done today? Well, we recapped an LC power supply. I probably would have ended up, excuse me, birthday. I probably would have ended up recapping a second one, or even a third one, had it not been for the fact that I ran out of some caps. So I'm going to have to order some more of those ones. They were, I can't remember what they was. They was the little ones. I think it was a 4725 and a 27025. I ran out of those ones. So I'll have to order some more of those in readiness. These get used for all these power supplies, so I don't mind having plenty of them in stock. We did test that and managed to get it working, so that was great. We did the majority of the restoration on the floppy drive, replaced the eject gear, clean the heads, clean some of the old grease away, put some new grease on. I'm now going to just clean that top mechanism. I don't know what that top mechanism is called, but, you know, it's the thing. I'm going to clean that in the ultrasonic cleaner, then I'm going to add some grease to it, and then we're going to put it all back together again, and hopefully then I will have a pretty nifty LC2 that I think I'll have to clean it. It's still pretty freaking dirty. The one really big issue with this is that the color of the Apple logo on the front has faded quite significantly. So that's not going to change. That's just going to be how it is. So I'll probably end up losing a little bit of money on that. But it will have a blue SCSI in it. It will be fully functional. It will be all recapped, so I'll be able to sell it as a, you know, it's an everything computer. It's got it all done. So just going to check the chat here quickly before I sign off. Oh, and of course we put the axial caps on this SE30 board as well. Fan from Morocco. Hello. Thank you very much to Salim. Thank you to you. Pick up the Holy Grail of CRTs tomorrow. Sony KV40X BR800. Largest direct view CRT made. Trinitron. Wow. Okay. So I assume it's going to have little Trinitron lines on it. I can't collect CRTs. I just don't have the space for them. So I've got just a couple of ones, but that's it. Just ones that have some historical significance to me. The big old 19s and big 19-inch ones and 21-inch ones that they used to have. I mean, far out. I remember moving them around in my job, you know, when you had to move them from desk to desk. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Okay, just checking. Sorry about this. Three of us to load it and unload it. This is the gigantic monitor. Yes, okay. Okay. And I thought Mitsubishi made the biggest CRT, I think 40 inches. Well, this sounds like it's 40 inches as well. Sony's also 40. Yep. Okay. Alrighty. Well, okay. Big thank you to everyone. Sorry that the bar sign is out. I'll get that fixed for next time. Thank you for keeping me company. Thanks for keeping the chat live and active. It's been a lot of fun. As I say, this isn't my normal time for streaming, but I enjoyed it immensely. I'm going to go get myself some lunch now. Thank you for the super chat. I think I did get a super chat today from Ryan, I think. If it wasn't you, Ryan, it was someone else, and so thank you to that person. And enjoy the rest of the morning, evening, afternoon, night, whatever it happens to be, wherever you are. Please enjoy it. And I hope to see you at my next live stream, which will probably be this weekend, but I can't guarantee it because I think I have some other things happening. But anyhow, thanks again. I hope to see you next time, and bye-bye.